The night was colder than it should have been. The three friends, Sam, Mia, and Liam, stood at the edge of Sycamore Lane, the pale light of the moon bathing the crumbling house in an eerie glow. The old mansion looked like a creature from another time, something ancient and wrong that didn't belong in the modern world. "Are we really doing this?" Mia asked, hugging herself tightly. Her green jacket was thin, and the cold seemed to bite straight through it. Liam grinned, his teeth flashing white in the dim light. "Of course we're doing this. Come on, Mia, don't tell me you're scared of an old house." "It's not the house," Mia muttered, her breath misting in the chill air. "It's the stories." "The stories are just that, stories," Liam said, rolling his eyes. "No one's been in that place in, 50 years? If it were really haunted, someone would have seen something by now." Sam remained quiet, his hands stuffed into the pockets of his hoodie. He wasn't sure why he had agreed to come. He hated being the center of attention, and this whole thing reeked of one of Liam's reckless schemes. But there was something about the house that had always fascinated him. It wasn't just the stories, or the way it seemed to watch the town from its perch at the end of the lane. It was the way it felt alive. The wind stirred, rustling the dead leaves that blanketed the ground. The sound was soft like whispers, and it made Sam shiver. "All right," Liam said, his voice breaking the silence. "Here's the plan. One of us goes in, touches something, and comes back out. Easy." "Why do we have to touch something?" Mia asked. "Because that's the rule," Liam said, smirking. "It's not enough to just go in. You have to prove you were there." Mia crossed her arms, glaring at him. "You're ridiculous." "Maybe, but I'm also not chicken." Sam felt the tension between them like a physical weight. He sighed. "I'll do it," he said quietly. Both Liam and Mia turned to him in surprise. "Seriously?" Liam asked. Sam nodded. "Let's just get it over with." For a moment, Liam looked like he was going to protest. This was his dare, after all. But then he shrugged. "All right, hero, go for it." Mia grabbed Sam's arm as he started forward. "You don't have to do this," she said, her voice soft but urgent. "He's just trying to show off." "I know," Sam said. He gave her a small, reassuring smile. "It's fine." The house loomed larger as he approached, its windows like empty eyes staring down at him. The front porch sagged under his weight, the wood groaning in protest. Sam paused at the door, his heart pounding. It hung slightly ajar, the darkness inside thick and impenetrable. The air here was different, heavier, colder. It smelled of mold and decay, with a faint sweetness that made Sam's stomach turn. He pushed the door open, and the sound echoed through the house like a gunshot. Part 2, The House Awakens. Inside, the house was a cavern of shadows. Sam's flashlight revealed glimpses of peeling wallpaper, broken furniture, and thick cobwebs. The air was damp, and the floorboards creaked with every step he took. He moved cautiously, his flashlight sweeping over the debris-strewn floor. In the corner of the room, he spotted an old rocking chair, its cushions torn and sagging. The sight of it sent a chill down his spine. "Just touch something and leave," he whispered to himself. His eyes fell on a porcelain doll sitting on a cracked wooden shelf. Its face was pale and chipped, one glass eye missing. Sam reached out, his fingers trembling. The moment he touched it, a cold electric shock ran up his arm. He yanked his hand back, staring at the doll in disbelief. It hadn't moved, but something about it felt wrong, like it was watching him. Behind him, the door creaked. Sam turned, his flashlight flickering. The shadows seemed to shift, as if the room were breathing. "Liam?" he called, his voice shaking. No answer. "Hello?" The silence was deafening. Suddenly, a noise shattered the stillness. A soft, shuffling sound like footsteps on carpet. Sam spun around, his flashlight darting across the room. The beam caught a glimpse of something. A figure, pale and thin, moving in the corner of his eye. He froze. "Who's there?" he demanded, his voice barely above a whisper. The figure stepped into the light. It was a woman, or at least it looked like one. Her skin was ashen, stretched tight over her bones. Her eyes were black pits and her mouth hung open, as if she were screaming silently. Sam backed away, his heart hammering in his chest. "I didn't mean to," he started, but the words died in his throat as the figure lunged at him. He stumbled, falling to the floor. His flashlight skittered away, plunging the room into darkness. The whispers began then, soft at first but growing louder. They filled his ears, his mind, until he thought he might go mad. Then as suddenly as they started, they stopped. The house was silent again. Sam scrambled to his feet, his hands shaking. He grabbed his flashlight, its beam weak and flickering. The figure was gone, but he could still feel her presence, like a weight pressing down on his chest. He ran for the door, yanking it open and bursting onto the porch. Liam and Mia were waiting, their faces pale with fear. "What happened?" Mia asked, grabbing his arm. Sam shook his head, unable to speak. Behind him, the house groaned as if it were alive. Part 3. Marked. Sam thought he had escaped, but the house wasn't done with him. In the days that followed, strange things began to happen. He heard whispers in the dark, even when he was alone. Shadows moved in his peripheral vision, and no matter how many lights he turned on, the darkness always seemed to creep closer. One morning he woke to find a handprint burned into his shoulder. A mark, cold and black, that didn't fade. Mia and Liam tried to help him, but they soon realized that whatever had attached itself to Sam wasn't just after him. The curse of Sycamore House was spreading, and it wouldn't stop until it had claimed them all. As they dug deeper into the history of the house in Eleanor Cray, they uncovered horrors far worse than they could have imagined. And the house, it was hungry. The end,